Hello guys, and welcome to another in-depth review here on NNT Auto Reviews. My name is Tyler, and today we'll be checking out a really nice minivan here today. And it's got some really nice features for being one of the lower end models. And it is of course the 2018 Kia Sedona in the LX trim level. So before we get started with this review, I'd like to give a huge thanks out to Shakers Kia here in Watertown, Connecticut, for allowing me access to the car in today's video. And if you're interested in purchasing any Kia from these guys, go ahead and check out the description box where I have given you guys all the contact information. Alright, so before we actually get into the details and whatnot of this car, I wanted to show you guys the window sticker like we always do. So over here, just going over some of the window sticker features. This is all of our standard features right over here. And if we work our way on over here, we have our optional features. So we do have a couple of packages and options that are added on to this LX to make it an even nicer of a minivan than it already is. So we have the LX Essentials Premium Package, which gives us a bigger touchscreen, the Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, leather seats, heated front seats, all that good stuff that we will get into in the a little bit later in the video. We also have the LX Advanced Technology Package, which is pretty neat. Gives you a supervision gauge cluster, which we'll check out. Very many safety features like autonomous emergency braking, forward collision warning, departure warning, lane departure warning system, blind spot, rear cross traffic, and the adaptive cruise control, which is really cool. We also have the carpeted floor mats for an extra $200, a cargo net for $50, and a mudguard set for $95. And if we wrap up the window sticker on the options list, we can see that there is a $950 destination fee, and the total price for this particular car is going to come in at $34,495. Now, a lot of people like to see the parts content list, and as you can see, 3% of the parts come from the USA and 90% come from Korea. So this is in fact a very Korean car. Alright, so taking a look at the side profile of this minivan, it's actually, in the almost 2 years of filming, the first minivan that I've filmed, and I'm very impressed so far on my first once over of it. Now, getting to the side, of course, again, the color choice is called Venetian Red that we're working with today, and it is one of 7 possible color choices that you can get on the LX trim level. And as far as the wheelbase goes, that stands at 120.5 inches, in case you're wondering. And hopping around to check out the rear profile of the Sedona, front wheel drive is only available. Alright, so features of the exterior on the 2018 Kia Sedona. We could go ahead and start with our headlamps here, and for our low beams, they are projector halogens. For our high beams, they are reflector halogens. There's some pretty nice chrome accenting and a little bit of color going on there. But take a look at the shape of the projector tube. Pretty neat looking there. We also have our turn signals up there too. A little bit of trim down there, which would be a fog lamp if you had the upper trims. And you can also see the black dots running all the way across the front bumper. That is for your parking sensors. So you have parking sensors in the front, which is pretty awesome. You have the typical tiger nose grille surrounded in a nice satin chrome, and then the slats are this really neat metallic black color with a front license plate bracket, and I believe these are for your sensors for all of your safety features on the front. But it's a pretty good looking front end to the Sedona. Pretty good looking minivan in general. Alright, so pretty nice hood, pretty small too if you take a look at it from the side. Nice creases towards the edge too, coming into the headlamps. But taking a look at our wheels, we have the standard wheel choice, which are 17-inch silver painted alloys. Aluminum rims. Got a really nice bright silver finish to it too. Ventilated disc brakes up front, and you have 5 lugs. Pretty beefy looking calipers too, if you ask me. And the tires up front measure 235/65, and they are Hankook tires. Looks like all seasons. If we take a look at the side, we have a bunch of black surrounding the windows there. Pretty nice body colored mirror with a little bit of the black plastic, and you also have an LED turn signal in the mirror too. We'll wrap around on the other side, you could also see the turn signal a little bit better, and then the blind spot warning is there too. So here you can see the optional mud guards, and we also have the keyless entry, or the smart key entry on the front 2 door handles. The back doors are fully powered, which is pretty neat. Pretty cool roof line there. It makes an appearance of a floating roof because the back pillars are all blacked out to match the windows. Your gas filler is on the driver's side. You have the rails right in there for the power door. And you have solid disc brakes back here, same wheel and tire setup. And wrapping around to the back, we have some pretty nice tail lamps back here that use traditional bulbs. As far as logos back here, not overdone. You have the Sedona logo, and then your model insignia, which is the LX back here too. You have your backup camera back here, which is almost in the center position, and the trunk releases over there too. You also have the Kia logo, and you have parking sensors on the rear too, and your exhaust is off to the right. Pretty good looking minivan from the outside. You can also see the roof rails from back here and the shark fin antenna. Alright, so now let's go ahead and pop the hood and see what powers this Sedona. Alright, so opening the hood, it is held up by a prop. That's quite alright because the hood is pretty light. Now the Kia Sedona does come with one engine choice all across the board, and it's a 3.3 liter V6. Produces 276 horsepower at 6,000 RPM and 248 pound-feet of torque at 5,200 RPM. We have a bunch of fluids to check. It looks like a pretty easy access engine. You can see all the belts down there. It's a pretty big engine cover. You can see that the engine itself takes 5W30 oil, and the dipstick is also over there for the engine oil. You have the battery right over here too. That's pretty much it underneath here. Nothing super special, but it gets the job done very well. Alrighty, so before we hop inside, this car does have the smart key entry system like I talked about earlier. I'm going to go ahead and demonstrate how that works because some manufacturers do it differently than others. But how this system works is you have to make sure the key fob is obviously near the car. Just for a demonstration, the car is unlocked at the moment, but if you want to lock it, all you need to do is press that button right there. It'll beep and the mirrors will actually fold in for you. And if you want to get back in, all you need to do is just press the button again. It'll beep twice and the doors will unlock. Now, as far as interior color choices, for the LX trim, you can either choose between 2 different colors of cloth and 2 different colors of leather. We have the leather, and it is called the camel beige. It's really nice to see over a black interior because it just really lightens it up, and it's a lot better for filming too. But as far as functionalities of the door panel, let's go ahead and check out what we have going on over here. So we have the door handle. It's a nice metallic color with the door lock too. We also have our windows, the driver's windows fully automatic. We have our lock, unlock, our child locks for the windows. We also have our mirror controls, and our folding mirrors are right here as well. So you can put them on auto, so when you lock the car, they'll fold in, and when you unlock them, they'll fold out. You can turn that automatic feature off if you want. Take a look at how much storage is in the door. So you have one little shelf over here, and then a huge one down here with a bottle holder there too. As far as materials on the door, they're pretty nice. So up here is soft to the touch, over here is a little bit harder, but then we go right back to the softer touch materials right here on the door, where it's leather. We have a pretty neat dark gray accent over here with our door grab. We also have a speaker on the door, and that is one of 6 speakers on the LX trim. And then down here we move back to the hard plastics, but that's good for spills and whatnot. It won't stain the nice materials or anything. So working our way to the left of the dash, we have some features up here. So nice little accents on the gauge cluster there. We have an air vent. We also have a gauge dimmer. Our lane blind spot warning you could turn off right there. You also have a lane keep assist that you could turn on and off, and your traction control, you could turn that on and off again. And then over here we have our fuel tank release. Obviously it is locking. Your fuse box is right in here. Your hood release. Your parking brake is right there. You also have your pedals that are covered in rubber. You also have hooks on the standard carpet so that you can hook in your optional carpeted floor mats. So it looks like we have 10-way powered seats with 2-way lumbar. So you're up, down for both the front and the back, and then you're back and forth. And your backrest goes fore and aft too. But really nice optional leather seats. Really, really comfortable. I say it's got to be up there with the most comfortable seats I've ever sat in. So the side bolsters just have a ton of give, and it's just a very comfortable seat. So we have some black accenting around the sides of the seats, and then we have some stitching and piping, and then perforated leather in the center. It's just a really nice setup for the seats. And if you want something even nicer, I'm not quite sure why you would need anything nicer, you could also get Napa leather seats in the top level trim. So also, before we get in, you could also see this little lever there. That's for your tilt and telescoping steering wheel. But let's go ahead and hop in, start it up, and check out the rest of the interior. So I have the key fob that comes with the Sedona. It's the normal really nice key fob that you get with most Kias. It's got a pretty neat texture on the back, and then you also have this button right here to release the physical key that is hidden inside. On the side you have a little bit of accents that are pretty nice, and then you also have metal buttons. So a bunch of buttons on here, usual for a minivan. You have lock up right on the top, you have unlock right below it. You can also open both the rear doors with these 2 buttons right here. You could pop the trunk open, then there's also a panic alarm. So this car does have push button ignition, and all you need to do that is just leave the key fob on the inside, make sure your foot's on the brake, and the start stop button's right over here. Alright, so take a look at this really nice leather wrap steering wheel. It's got some functions on it as well as some nice materials. There's stitching on the inside. It's a very smooth leather, so there's not a whole lot of texture. You have nice little accents at the bottom with the gloss black. And a nice big airbag cover with the Kia emblem. Now as far as functionalities, this is your media side, so you have the mode for your audio, your volume for the audio, and then you also have the voice commands, and you could also change between your presets. Of course, these are your Bluetooth telephone controls, and moving right on over here, we have these two controls for the center screen in the middle of the gauge cluster there, and then all the rest is for the adaptive cruise control. You could set your distance between the car in front of you using that button right there. And as far as our gauges, they're pretty nice. They have the nice white lettering. The RPM gauge is nice and big. Then you also have your temperature gauge right down there. Speedometer's over there with the fuel gauge too. And we can go ahead and check out some of the features of the center screen here. So again, we're going to be using these two buttons to control what goes on in the screen there. So this is our basic screen that gives us our digital speed readout. We also have some fuel economy screens, so our trips and whatnot. Let's go ahead to the next menu, and it displays all of our active safety features that are on and off. Our audio, our service reminders are also up there, and then our settings are up here too. So we can choose between all of those settings there. But I'm going to go ahead and leave it on the default screen. You also get a readout of what gear you're in, the exterior temperature, and then the total mileage on the car. As you can see, it's 46 degrees up here in Connecticut, so hopefully it'll stay that way for a little while. But I forgot to mention, behind the steering wheel, we have a couple of stalks back here. This one being for all of your lighting, so all of your lighting is controlled throughout the stalk. Even your high beams are over here as well. Your turn signals. You also have all of your front and rear wiper controls too. So, upper dash is pretty nice. It's got pretty soft to the touch materials up there. Looks like you have a couple of speakers up to the corners there. And your defroster is pretty huge. Take a look at that. So you'll be able to defrost your windows in no time with that huge defroster there. Alright, so after familiarizing myself with this 7-inch Kia Yuvo screen, it's actually a pretty nice screen, and it responds really nicely to the swiping motions as well as the regular touchscreen motions. But as far as functionalities go, this is pretty much your home screen, so I'm going to zoom in a little bit just so you get a better picture of it. So there you go, you have some quadrants over here, so it'll display what's going on with your audio as well as your phone. So if I have my phone hooked up, it'll go ahead and say Tyler's iPhone and whatnot. All your contacts and everything will sync over, but we're going to go ahead and get into more of that in the actual phone screen. But as far as our radio screen, we can go ahead and click that and it'll expand. We have all of our presets over here, and we can also tune the radio through here, and you can see what I'm talking about when I say the swiping motion on the touchscreen works really well. So that's very nice to see. Going back to our home is as simple as pressing the button right in the top left corner. We also have our phone screen, which not a whole lot's going to show up over there. Again, it does have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. I finally got that correct. I used to say Apple Auto and Android CarPlay. I always got that mixed up, but finally I got it correct. But off to the next, we also have an all menus button right there. Again, the things that aren't highlighted will become highlighted when you connect your phone. Coming on to over there, we have all of our different setup and whatnot. So these are all our different options that we can go through. We can customize our home screen, voice recognition, languages, all that good stuff. You can also set a screensaver, which is pretty cool. Just an analog clock. That's pretty much it. Pretty useful screen. You have a bunch of different apps and whatnot you can go through. You even have your own sort of menu that you can customize. So pretty neat little screen there. Now surrounding the screen you have a couple of air vents. Obviously your volume knob, power, your tune knob is over there too. You also have some nice chrome surrounds, which is pretty neat. So there's the push button start logo, or the push button I guess you could say, right there. Down here you have a digital clock, which is really nice just to glance over quickly at it, and then you have your hazards right here. Passenger airbag indicator is over there too. And we also have a, if I'm not mistaken, a 2-zone climate control, where you can control the front, and then the rear also has a separate zone, which is pretty awesome. So over here for the front, we have our fan speed. Front and rear defrost is there too, and then all of our different zones, so where you want the air to blow. Recirculating AC. We also have the rear climate, so we could turn that on. And you hear that vent going on. They have their own separate vent fan back there too. You could also lock out the rear so your kids aren't playing with it. And you also have your temperature for the rear, and then your temperature for the front. So pretty nice, very simple setup. I like the use of knobs in the right places and buttons in the right places. So very simple climate control there. And it's nice to see that you have a separate zone for the back. Over here we have a little rubberized tray where I guess you could put coins and whatnot. You have a USB and auxiliary inlet over there. And the little tags that they give you. You have a couple of cup holders and a nice trim over here. So as far as buttons down here, we can turn on and off our parking sensors. We also have an eco mode. The front seats are 3-stage heated, which is pretty nice on days like today, where it's a little bit chilly up here in Connecticut. We also have a nice leather shift boot with some stitching that matches the stitching on the seats. And it is a 6-speed automatic. Every Sedona will get the 6-speed automatic. So again, of course you have the unlock over here, and it's a pretty nice shift knob. You have the leather up top too, and the little metallic accents. But dropping it down into reverse gives you a pretty nice backup camera with guidance lines, and those guidance lines are active to predict your path. You have neutral, drive, and then you also have a manual mode. So manual mode in a minivan is pretty cool if you ask me. So up, down, you can cycle between all 6 of your gears. But for now, let's go ahead and just leave it into park. So over here you have a nice little storage tray where you can put a bunch of stuff, it looks like. I just chose to put the key right there. And you could also slide that right on back, which I didn't even know of until now. And you have an even larger storage bin right in there, so you even have a 12-volt power outlet underneath that little lid there. So if we slide that back, we also have our center console, which is pretty big. It's got a little bit of softness to it, so it's going to be pretty comfortable, and a little bit of stitching. Lifting that up gives you even more storage. So you're not going to have a problem with storage in the Kia Sedona up front, at least. And it goes in quite a ways down there. So pretty neat the way Kia set up that storage console there. But taking a look up here, we have our standard day and night mode mirror. We also have a place for a little mirror there, so you can keep an eye on your rear passengers. You can also see me up there. We have some lighting, so pretty traditional lighting up there. We could also use the tap lights. You can also turn the lights on so they come on when you open the door. You could also control your rear doors up there too. You could turn on and off the power doors too, in case you wanted to just open them manually. So our visors, they're pretty big. And you have a nice mirror with a little bit of a light on the top. Really soft too, just like the headliner. It's got a really nice headliner to it. And you also have your grab handle up there too. So pretty nice interior for the Sedona. Now I believe it came out a couple years ago, but it's really not showing any age at all. It's just a really nice interior. But now I'm going to go ahead and adjust my driving position to my 5'10" self, just so we can go ahead and check out how much room we have in the back. And let's go ahead and check out the back now. And opening the back is as simple as just pulling the handle there. And it'll slide right open. Alright, so standing back just a little bit, you got a nice wide opening from that huge door. It opens up all the way. Now the rear seats are completely separate from each other, so they're kind of like bucket seats. So this seat is separate from the center seat, and then this is that one over there. But there's a couple of functions to the seat which is really cool, which I wanted to demonstrate for you. First of all, this is just a recline, so you could recline the backrest so your kids are comfortable in the back. And then also you have this lever right here which gains access to the rear seats. And then once we check out the rear seats, I'm going to go ahead and pull that handle, and you could see how that works there. But for now, let's just go ahead and check out the second row. So I'm going to get in and show you how much room I have. And we're going to close the door pressing this button right here. Door slides closed. I have a pretty good amount of room back here. Now keep in mind the second row seats do slide back and forth. So if I put it all the way up, I have just a little bit, like a finger size of legroom, and if I put it all the way back, I have a huge amount of legroom. But the downside to putting it all the way back is that you're going to leave your third row passengers without much room back there. So we're going to leave it at a more of a normal position. Down here we have a fold out storage tray to put change and whatnot. There's a couple more cup holders over here. I'm going to try to show you the door as best as I can. It has a shade to block out the light, which is pretty awesome. It also has your window switch, which is an absolutely huge window. You also have your door open and your lock and unlock as well down there. And a bottle storage and just a normal storage tray down there too. Now this seat does have a nice armrest that folds down. You want to make sure that's up when you get out of the car. Now the center seat also slides back and forth with this little lever down there, and it also doubles as an armrest. So if you're not using the center portion, you can just pull this tether right there and it folds right on down. And guess what? Another couple of cup holders in a storage tray and a nice soft armrest. Now lifting this back up is more of a two-hand process, so we're just going to leave it down for now. As you can see, that's the headrest folded. But up here we have all the controls for our climate back here, which is pretty awesome. So our fan speed is right over here, our different zones where we want the air to blow is over there, and then our temperature is right there. We also have vents on the ceiling for the second and third row. We also have some lights back here. A grab handle with the coat hooks as well for your dry cleaning. And a little handle to help you get in and out. There's a pretty nice overview of the interior there. But next, let's go ahead and check out the third row. So getting in and out is very easy of the second row. Let's go ahead and pull this lever right here and pay close attention to what the seat does. So it kind of like collapses itself, which is pretty awesome. It folds down the headrest, the cushion folds up, and the seat folds forward. And it gives you a really surprisingly big amount of space to climb into the rear seats here. So let's go ahead and do just that. And they give you a nice little tether that you can pull once you're back here. and it'll pull the seat right back into place. And once you're back here, you still have a ton of room. So you saw how much room I had in the front. I didn't change the position of the second row seats, and I still have so much room back here. It's very impressive. You can also sit someone in the center of the seats too, so you can actually sit 8 people in this vehicle. But as far as amenities back here, we have a couple of speakers to either side and a couple of cup holders, surprise, surprise. But what really surprised me about back here is that you even have a shade even in the way back. Pretty awesome. You also have lights back here too, and the air vents and handles back here too. Pretty neat. And once you want to get out, you just pull that tether again, push the seat forward, and it's very easy to get in and out of this car. To close the doors from the outside, all you need to do is just pull the handle. And they'll close right on up for you. But next, let's go ahead and check out the front passenger space. So as far as the design goes, the front passenger door is much like the driver's. There's a few less buttons like you'd expect, so it just has the lock and unlock and the window switch. You still have a ton of storage and the nice soft touch materials. The passenger seat is, I believe, 4-way manual, so you can control your backrest with this lever right there, and the back and forth motion with that one right there. Now, Kia does give you 2 storage compartments up here. So this is just a little cubby up there. Then you also have your normal storage bin down here. It's not huge, but all the other storage trays in this car definitely makes up for the little bit of a lack of storage in the glove box. Passengers treated with some storage and a 12-volt power outlet just for them. Really impressed with the seats on this car. Ton of quality went into those seats, I could tell you that right now. Alright, so you can pop the trunk of the Sedona using that button that I showed you earlier right next to the backup camera. Just press that rubberized button and you can just lift the trunk right on up. It takes virtually no effort at all. And once that opens, you have a huge opening for storage in there. And it's all really nice in that camel beige color too. So pretty neat. Take a look at how low this floor is, so you can put miles of storage items in here. Pretty neat to see that. So you have a 12-volt power outlet back here, and then you could also see your carpet floor mats are back here. And over here you could see that to recline the seat, you just pull the lever, and then I'll pull it back in case you wanted to recline the seats for any reason, or you can just fold it down like that. But the other function of the seat is just to pull this lever right here, and it won't do it since the mats are in the trunk, but these seats will actually become level with the floor, so you have a fully flat loading space back here, which is really cool. So let's go ahead and just put these seats right back up in their normal position. And you can go ahead and lower the trunk using this handle right here. Again, it's a really light trunk lid for being so big. So, popping the cover open to the 21.1 gallon fuel tank. You have the traditional cap and tether system where you can hang the cap right there. As you can see, it even says holder right there, in case you didn't know. But it actually gets pretty good fuel economy for such a big vehicle. And it comes in an 18 city and 24 on the highway according to the window sticker. So that's pretty good in my opinion, seeing that it does have that big V6, a pretty normal size V6, and it's such a large vehicle. So to wrap up this video, I hope you guys enjoyed your time with the 2018 Kia Sedona in the LX trim just as much as I have. And I hope you stay with us for future in-depth reviews here on NNT Auto Reviews.